Hello everybody, we hope everyone is doing well. The following video will discuss our chosen activity and manipulative that we wanted to share with you from our manipulative kit assignment. We have titled this activity, Building a Whole with Fraction Noodles. The manipulative is pool noodle fractions, which we believe is a great tactile tool for young learners to use when learning about fractions and to be able to manipulate the tool through activities. In connection with the Ontario Mathematics Curriculum 2020, the expectation of this manipulative was that if it can help students understand number sense and the concept of fractions. Specifically, in strand B, number, B1 number sense, whole numbers and fractions, decimals, and percents were a specific focus for this activity. As discussed in our written report, for this activity, it may be most beneficial for educators and students with time if the pool noodles are pre-cut and set for the students to use, with the corresponding fraction written in both number and word form. We want to make sure there is lots of space for the students to use this activity. Like we have here, mix up the fractions on the floor or on a table, so they will have to look through to find matching pieces. Next, the educator would ask the students to reference the fractions written on the pool noodle piece either by word or by number, preferably both, and to begin to build a whole. There will be various ways to make a whole, for example, with 2 halves, with 1/2 and 2 quarters, or with 4 quarters. To help the students build these connections of math concepts and their learning, during this time, ask your students to take notes of which fractions they use to make a set of wholes, or which sets of fractions they use to make an equivalent whole. After this, ask students to illustrate on the provided paper with the outline of the pool noodle what fractions they used each time to equal a whole. As the educator, use the time when they are either working throughout the activity or filling out their worksheets to discuss why they thought certain fraction combinations worked or did not work to make a whole. This should get them thinking back to the activity and their thinking strategies throughout. Questions to ask students throughout the activity and finishing up with the worksheet can include, what fraction pieces did you use that were not the same to make a whole? Can you explain your thinking to how you put together different fractions to make one whole? Why didn't a specific set of fractions work to creating a whole fraction? In that question, you could pick out a fraction selection that you knew and they knew did not work. And another question is, how did you solve any problems that came up? Notes for evaluating students' learning that the educator can consider when observing the activity. If the students are in pairs or groups, how are they collaborating? Have they struggled thus far? Observe their thinking and look at their notes as they are writing down the fractions and are trying to get through. How many fractions were they able to create, and how many of them were correct or incorrect? After discussing with the students to learn more about the process of thinking throughout the activity, did they say they had difficulty? Did they enjoy this way of looking at fractions? Do you think this has positively affected their skills when looking at and using fractions? We want to thank you guys so much for watching our manipulative video, and we hope that you have the opportunity to implement it in your classes with young learners. Have fun and stay well, everybody.